Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a Switch/gaming My 2 cent video where I take a look at some of the stories that came out this week that interest me though, and give you my thoughts and opinions. So we got three stories to talk about, so let's get started with the first one. And the first one is a comment made by a video game developer, Suda51 though. Now, I do want to state, though, that I am a fan of a lot of his games, though, and I have played a lot of them, and I have enjoyed them, though. From the first one, such as Killer 7, No More Heroes 1 and 2, Shadows of the Dam, Killer is Dead, his new one, Let It Die, that came out. And I'm looking forward to the upcoming No More Heroes Desperate Struggle, if I'm saying the name correctly, sorry. Even though it's not named No More Heroes 3, I'm still looking forward to it. But Suda51 might be could be looking at the idea of possibly remaking one of his games, though. He recently made an interview with Game Informer that recently came up about one of the games he might consider remaking, though. So, in an interview that he made, at least posted on several other sites, including Nintendo Life and so on, so I'll have a link in the description, you could take a look. He was asked if he would like to remake any of his old Grasshopper games at the topic of Killer 7. He said, quote, "The thing about Killer 7 is that right now it's not easy to play that game anymore right now. That's definitely something I'd like to maybe revise and update." I will say, personally, if he were to do that, I would be open to it, though. Killer 7 was one of the first games I played that was made by Suda51 that first time I ever heard about that developer, though. It was part of I believe it was called the Capcom 5, which were these 5 games that were exclusive for the GameCube. It was later called Capcom 4 because one of the games, Dead Phoenix, got canceled. And I believe Killer 7 was one of those games, along with Beautiful Joe. I think Resident Evil 4 was on there, and I believe pin number 03 as well. Killer 7 would also be ported over to the PlayStation 2. Same with Beautiful Joe, and of course later on Beautiful Joe would get a sequel with Beautiful Joe 2 that was also ported to GameCube and PlayStation 2 as well. As far as whether that game should be remade or not, though, I certainly would not be against that game being remade. Even though I could probably play the original one now, even though it probably was a bit outdated in terms of a lot of the control schemes. Keep in mind, this came out around the time Resident Evil 4 came out, which has since then become the standard of what third-person shooter games are, although the controls in third-person shooters have changed from the days of Resident Evil 4, however. But the idea of the game being remade, though, would definitely be open to it. It was like weird, twisted, bizarre, and I freaking loved it on so many levels. That said, I don't know whether or not Capcom would be willing to do that, considering that they were the ones that published Killer 7 back in 2005. So I don't know whether they still have the rights for it or not, but I do hope that at some point down the road that he is able to remake Killer 7. I would definitely, and this is true, I would definitely be down to playing that game again, even if it's a remade version. As far as it not being playable now compared to when it was back then, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have problems with the controls, though, but I'm sure for a lot of gamers today, that might be an issue. So whether or not that game gets ported again or remade, who knows, but if it does, I would definitely be down to seeing a remake of Killer 7. Hopefully it will come to Nintendo Switch, although I would be open to it if it came to the PS4 as well. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about a mode that was introduced in the latest trailer for Super Mario Odyssey called the Assist mode. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this one we're going to be talking about a feature that is going to be appearing in the upcoming Super Mario Odyssey. Now, as we all know, the game comes out on October 27th, so I think we're about 2 weeks away. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the case, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So Nintendo recently released an overview trailer. They had one in Japanese, but now we have like an English version though, and it showed off some features that's going to be in the game. One of those is a 2-player co-op mode where one person controls Cappy while the other person controls Mario. And based on the trailer, from what they showed, it looks like you'll be using each person will be using one of the Joy-Cons. One will use the Joy-Con to control Cappy while the other one is controlling Mario. But a new mode has also popped up as well that, well, I'm not saying it's huge, but some don't seem to like this mode being in the game. According to what we understand, though, according to several articles, again, links are in the description, this one is from Nintendo Today, though, and it said, it was recently discovered that Super Mario Odyssey will feature an assist mode for players who aren't experienced with games. The assist mode not only help guide the player controlled, it also automatically heals if you take damage, though. Oops, sorry. Yeah, it's also been pointed out that this feature can be turned on and off. Now, some people have been sort of upset with this, though. While not, like I said, not huge, some people are calling this like baby mode and all that stuff, and some people do not like that in any way. Personally, and another thing, before I get to that part, another thing to point out is that it's also been turned into a joke, as some have called it game journalist mode, in sort of a reference to how one of the person who played Cuphead couldn't get past the tutorial on that one, and that has sort of raised the whole issue of, do game journalists have to be about game journalists not being great at video games, which, while I don't expect all game journalists to be good at video games, I expect them to at least to have a rundown of the basics to get a good idea of what they're playing and have a clear understanding of it. So, but anyway, as far as the assist mode in the game goes, personally, I don't have an issue with it though. I mean, I know some people have complained about it though. I know some people have complained about, in the new Super Mario Bros. Game, where if you die so many times, you get the option of wearing a suit that can make you like skip the entire level, to the same thing with Donkey Kong Country Returns to Tropical Freeze. Die several times, you could turn DK into the Silver Gorilla who can withstand any hits or anything like that. I'm fully aware not everyone is a big fan of this feature and all, but at the same time, I do feel for this feature in particular, I feel that it's only optional. I mean, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. If you want to turn it off or just forget about it though, feel free to do so. I mean, there's no penalty of using this feature or not. There's no penalty if you don't want to use it or anything else. No one is forcing you to use this feature at all, okay? I mean, and again, it's for those who may have, are maybe not good at platforming games, or those who are not good at these type of games though. I mean, hell, for crying out loud, Fire Emblem has recently started putting in a casual mode where, in some cases, in Fire Emblem Fate, if your character dies, that doesn't mean you can't use them again, you just can't use them for this battle and all. And I'll be honest with you, I've used casual mode as well. And I mean, even the upcoming Fire Emblem Warriors will have that mode as well. So there's nothing wrong with having these kinds of modes, provided that it's optional, provided it's something you can turn on and off. And if you don't want to use it, that's fine. You don't have to use it at all. I mean, it's there for those who might have a disability and may not be as great at games or have never played these kind of games before. So I do think some people are kind of blowing it a little bit overboard. There's nothing wrong with having these kinds of features. Like I said, provided, however, it's something that can be turned on and off. It's optional. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. But if you feel this will make the game easier for you, though, then I say go ahead and use it. I don't see it as a big deal. And I think some people are kind of blowing it a little bit overboard, though. I mean, I haven't seen a huge controversy out of it, though, but I have seen some who have taken it a little bit to the extreme. But for me, personally, it's a feature that's optional. It can be turned on and off. If you want to play Mario like you did with Mario 64, or like New Super Mario Bros. Were, I mean, you don't want to use this feature, then fine, don't use it. Don't use it at all. Just move on and just do your own thing. So, but overall, nothing wrong with it. As long as it's optional, I don't think it's a big deal, though. Alright, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll get to our third and final story, and this has to do with not only an upcoming racing game, Gear Club Unlimited, but also it also has ties into with the whole microtransaction issue. So take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third and final part of our video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at two parts for this one, and this one is going to be about an upcoming racing game for the Nintendo Switch, Gear Clubs Unlimited, and microtransactions, though. So, as some of you all know, that as of right now, at least for the moment though, the Switch doesn't have a lot of racing simulation games. Outside of, say, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which, to be honest, that's more of a miscellaneous racing game rather than a traditional racing game. The Switch doesn't have anything at the moment, though. And we did have Namco ask about people asking for, if you want Project Cars 2 to come to Nintendo Switch, just ask, let's see the demand for it, which has sent off people looking at it as port begging, and after what Slightly Mad Studio did with the first Project Car, how they pretty much lied to Nintendo fans about that, I highly doubt people are going to be port begging for that one, though. But apparently a development team by the name, I think, Eating Games, if I could get the name up, is apparently working on a game for the Nintendo Switch. Supposedly this is the team behind that did games like V-Rally and Test Drive Unlimited, are bringing a realistic driving simulation game to the Switch. Basically, they worked with this on the mobile phone, though. So from what we understand, though, and let's see if I could get this up. Here are a couple of things we've learned so far. This is from an article from Red Bull Games, or Red Bull. So again, I'll have a link in the description. It points out the development of Gears Club Unlimited for the Nintendo Switch. Basically, it points out that many of our in-house tools and property engines have been developed over the last 20 years. System and technology constantly evolves, but some things never change, like, for example, the laws of physics. So something like that. Specialized in racing games since the very beginning. Isn't some wet behind the ear? I mean, okay, so basically this part they talk about basically some of their development team and all that stuff. They do point out a couple of things, though. They point out that the game promises 200 unique tracks across 3 total distance environments: the sunny Mediterranean, arid desert, ARID, luscious Greenland. But it won't just be a faithful and innovating experience on the tracks. Developers are working overtime to ensure there's plenty of tinker on offer when you're in the garage as well, so start customizing your car enough. They also point out that they're confident that despite the impressive visual look, his team will be able to keep things running smoothly. They're aiming for 1080p in dock, 720p in handheld mode. We're guaranteed minimum 30 frames per second across the board. One aspect of the hardware that Eating Games couldn't do anything about is the lack of an analog trigger. As you can see by, let me put this down for a minute. You can see by the the Switch Pro controller right over here. It doesn't have really anything. It doesn't have like an analog trigger the way the PS4 and Xbox One does. Let me get that article back up. It says, which many Forza, Forza, apologize if I'm saying the name correctly, and Gran Turismo fans will tell you are utterly essential. They did, however, say that they found a sort of a workaround this, saying, we are simulating analog on the digital triggers by converting pressure through a software grudge that is progressive. He also revealed that DLC form parts games will be planned and they'll be issued at a later date. So, based on what I've seen so far about the game, though, it looks kind of impressive. Granted, though, it's not Gran Turismo or anything like that, though, but it is nice that we're getting a serious racing game. Whether or not this clicks with Nintendo fans or not remains to be seen, though. I'm hoping that the game does do well, and hopefully it does click with Nintendo fans. But there is one part that has got some people's attention and are kind of praising this in a way, though. Part of the comment in the interview they mentioned, quote, is this: "First and foremost, there is a major economic difference. The game will be premium, which means you'll get the full experience after purchase. No microtransactions," he said. "We are capitalizing on the machine's power to develop high-definition graphics and visual effects," though. It talks about the visuals and all that stuff, but listen, let me repeat that again. The game will be premium, which means you get the full experience after purchase. No microtransactions. So, assuming what this developer is saying is true, assuming this is accurate and the developers are true to their words, it means that we're not getting it's not going to be a pay-to-win situation like we're seeing where some people are complaining about, like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and basically Middle-earth Shadow of Water. If this is accurate, this is refreshing, though, because lately, microtransactions, okay, don't know what that is, but, oh boy, okay, this is just some lost call. Can I silence that for a minute? Alright, whatever it is. Okay, anyway, basically, to recap what I said outside of my phone accident, my iPhone interrupted me by mistake. Apparently, what they're saying is that there won't be any microtransactions, which is nice to hear in a time where a lot of games are seeing a lot of microtransactions in their $60 games, and for a lot of people, that's been pretty upsetting because it doesn't feel like they're getting the full experience and all that stuff. Now, some developers have sort of tried to counter this as well. EA recently came out with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and explains that this is not going to be a pay-to-win situation, that this is basically going to be where some of the loot box will not contain the powerful weapons or anything like that. There will be like skins, cosmetics, emojis, and all that stuff. And recently, the Entertainment Software Board, the ESRB, that's the group that gives the rating for every video game so on, has recently come out in terms of the response over loot boxes in general. So, from a comment they mentioned, from a comment in a statement they sent to Kotaku, an ESRB spokesman said, "While there are elements of chance in these mechanics, the player is always guaranteed to receive in-game content, even if the player is unfortunately receiving something they don't want. We think of it as similar principle to collecting card games. Sometimes you'll open a pack and get burned, get a brand new holographic card you had your eye on for a while, but other times you end up with a pack of cards you already have." In other words, while the practice may not be great, they're looking at it as that it's not any form of gambling, where basically if you go to like a slot machine or something, you put money in and you don't win, you lose money right there. So they don't look at it that kind of situation. So even so, I'm still not comfortable with the whole idea of loot boxes in a $60 game. And while EA may say that they're not doing that, though, given their reputation and all, I'm still not 100% convinced. And they may say that now, but what's going to stop them to change that and decide, okay, in the loot boxes, though, we're going to put high powerful weapons in there, and in order to get that, you're going to either have to grind, or you could pay to get these loot boxes that could contain that weapon and all. I mean, it's the same thing with Destiny 2 right now. This too has microtransaction. Good game, but definitely has it as well with the silvers. Right now, it's a bit on the cosmetic side for a bit though, but that doesn't mean that the developers can't do something about it and basically pay this amount to get this most powerful weapon on. And that's the part that kind of bothers me, and I can see why some people could be upset about this though. And right now, it doesn't seem to be that the ESRB is basically doing anything about it, at least for now though. But that doesn't mean that perhaps maybe down the road they might do something. So we'll have to wait and see, but I kind of agree with what they're saying, but I don't like the practice. I really don't like the whole microtransaction practice though. So bottom line, I don't like microtransaction. I understand why some people would be upset about it, and I don't disagree with them though. And I applaud the development team that are working on Gears Club Unlimited, that are pushing for a premium game, not a freemium game though. Hopefully they're true to their words. We'll have to wait and see though. But if that's true, and that this is what they push for compared to when they released the game on the mobile devices where it had a freemium environment, but if what they're saying is true, then I think this is a game that should be supported though. Now, I'm not going to say you should go out and buy it and all. Not that kind of a person. You can make your own decision on that though. But if they stay true to their words, then I think this is something that we should support. That we should support developers that don't push for that freemium environment in a $60 game. At least that's how I looked at it though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion, but what are yours? What was that first? My bad, I'm sorry. Okay, alright. What are your thoughts about basically Suda51 thinking about remaking Killer 7? Would you be open to that happening again? Would you be playing that again? Do you think that that game should be remade at all? Do you think we should just move on from that one as well? What about the assist mode in Super Mario Odyssey? Are you okay with Nintendo putting that in there? Are you not okay with the assist mode? Are you planning on using it? Are you planning on not using it? And what about Gear Club's Unlimited? Are you looking forward to trying out that game? Or is it not on your radar? Are you happy with the fact that developers are aiming for a premium and not a free-to-play or microtransaction? And what about the ESRB's comment about microtransactions though? Do you think they are right? Or I mean loot boxing example. Do you think they are right? Do you think they are wrong? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. It's evening in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, for Southern California, I wish you all a good evening.